Welcome to Connecting the Community podcast. I am your host, Marj. I will be connecting you to people, organizations, and events that create community. I am creating this podcast in Richmond Hill, an eclectic and very culturally diverse community with lots of trees and streams and interesting people, just up the hill from Toronto. On this podcast, it's just me talking about the upcoming September 13th and 14th book event, Are You Going to Be, with BE being an acronym for book event. This is the third year for this book event. We've been collecting books since last year. There's three of us on this organizing committee. Tracy Wixon and Mary Kant have done a lot of the work this year. Each year, we ask ourselves, will we get donations of books? And yes, we are so grateful for the amazing donations we do receive. People are really entrusting us to find good homes for their books. The books you have read can be part of who you are. I believe that there can be sort of comfort found from looking at your shelves of books and seeing a book that you have spent a lot of time with, that you've got to know the characters and the causes. You've read words that have stirred you up. You may have learned so much from reading a book. So many of the books we have received are from people who have needed to downsize or they're just moving. It's as if they are giving us their books for adoption. There were some great conversations when we received the bags of books. This year, most of our donations were taken to a back door that led down the steps to what seemed like a secret room of the Richmond Hill United Church. Frequent conversations we had were about the differences in reading a real book and an e-book. The difference wasn't really articulated well, but it's real, and different people have different sentiments. I don't believe book publishing of the physical books is soon to stop. I like to have a real book in hand. Like so many, I spend a lot of time looking at the screen, so it's nice to curl up in a comfy chair and read. I do believe I process what I'm reading differently. Your thoughts? So we have about 10,000 real books. They're all genres of books, all topics of books. Mary and Tracy and some other great volunteers are sorting books this week. I'm not so good at identifying genres of fiction. If it has a gun on the cover, I can classify it as a murder mystery. Or if the title says romance, I know it's a romance. But other than that, Mary and Tracy were getting somewhat annoyed at just how I put everything in fiction. So I do read some historical fiction. I have found the sequels to the James Clavell Shogun I found last year. But I like to read biographies and nonfiction. I have come to recognize the names of Ken Follett, Dan Brown, Louise Penny, Maeve Beachley, I guess it is. We have received many copies of their books. But there's a good selection, too, of Indigenous writers. I've read a lot of those. Canadian authors, a lot of Margaret Atwood. Speaking of Canadians, we did receive what I believe is the entire collection of Pierre Berton books. I had no idea he was such a prolific writer. I certainly knew of The Last Spike, but there are 12, including one he wrote on cats. So, wouldn't it look impressive to have this collection of Pierre Berton books on your shelf? There are also a lot of cookbooks, and the boxes of cookbooks, I'd like to tell you, are heavy. I believe cookbooks are some of the most beautiful books, and on all types of cooking and all types of food from all over the world. Interesting, there are also a lot of old cookbooks. Just to see how we used to cook and how our eating habits have changed. Very interesting. I believe just making one new recipe from a new cookbook would be awesome. I believe that how you choose a recipe say from this beautiful new cookbook you picked up, would be so different than just scrolling through recipes that pops up on your phone. So, gardening books are also beautiful books. I've got lots of those. I very often got distracted from my sorting to look at the books. And nature books, just love their pictures too. Last year, we had art teachers looking for art books. I hope they come back because there are, of course, beautiful art books. We have lots of them. It's also music, sports, poetry, politics, religion. And there's a big humor section. Garfield, for better or worse, joke books, lots and lots of funny books. We need those. So the books are set up in the very large Centennial Hall of the Richmond Hill United Church, and they will be very well organized. We have been told that being well organized is what makes a good book sale. We are fortunate to have a separate room for children's books. Please, let's make sure that we nurture the love of books in children. So bring your kids, grandkids, buy some books so that your kids, neighbors' children, we need to, again, instill this love of reading. There were some new teachers who came last year, and they were so happy to be able to stock up in their classrooms. So maybe we'll find some new teachers this year. But I just love seeing the kids with an armful of books going to the cash out for the books that they had selected. There's also a separate room for refreshments. It's the garden room. This is a very bright and cheery room. The ladies in the church are making refreshments, and of course there's tea and coffee. The ladies did listen to requests from last year, and there will not just be sweets. Not quite certain what they're preparing, but I've been told that there'll be diverse offerings. This garden room, it's a great place to have a conversation with someone you may never have met before. Talking about books is an easy conversation starter. We do have CDs for sale. Not DVDs this year, just CDs. There's a lot of them, all genres. I did notice multiple copies of Phantom of the Opera, and there are many Christmas music CDs. CDs are only $1 each. The books are priced at $1 each for paperbacks or soft covers, and $2 for a hardcover. There are some featured books or sample sets of books that are priced accordingly. We do have a Square, so we can accept cash and debit cards as well as cash. For the refreshments, so it is cash only. Proceeds go to 3 causes: the Richmond Hill Food Bank, the Loft van that services the homeless, and the outreach programs that the Richmond Hill United Church does support. I got a Facebook message a few days ago wondering if someone could bring their mom, who uses a walker, and yes, the event is accessible. You enter off Yonge Street, that's 10201 Yonge. It's a 200-year-old building. It's quite nice to see some really good feedback from people who had not been there before. So the doors open Friday, September the 13th, 1 p.m. and it's open till 7 on Friday. On Saturday, the hours are 10 to 4. I am planning to be there the entire time, both days. So please come and say hi. Please tell your friends. It's a book event, but it's also a community event. There's a very nice website. I created it. www.areyougoingtobe.ca. This will be in the podcast notes. So hope to see you. Thank you for listening. I would very much appreciate you sharing this podcast. Please tune in next week as we continue to explore the community. Consider emailing me at Marj, M-A-R-J, at marjandre.com. I welcome suggestions for podcast guests. Stay well, stay connected.